Hello, and welcome to Mike, DJ, and Doc, the show that plants seeds for cultivating new culture.
Hey, yo, Doc, what's happening, man? How you feel?
Hey, all right. All is well. How you today, buddy?
Man, I'm doing good.
Hello, everyone.
Brother
Hey,
Mike.
Yes.
Greetings.
Greetings. All right. Setting the table. His story is told in Genesis 37 through 50. Joseph, the most beloved of Jacob's sons, is hated by his envious brothers. Angry and jealous of Jacob's gift to Joseph, a resplendent coat of many colors. So today we just want to talk to those who have received or believe they have a great gift. And even though you have a circle of friends or family members around you, you are slowly discovering, guess what? They ain't all on your team. They may be there, but they might not be on your team. So we want to talk to those who are dreamers and working toward their dreams, but facing those who are not all going to be happy for you. So hopefully we can say something that's going to impact your life and help you to move forward in it. All right.
Anybody want to open up on this one? This a hot one.
Yes. Wow.
We won't tag in.
Yeah. What's the question?
So,
Wow.
just for one, experiencing you working towards something, you have a dream you're working towards, and the people that you would figure would support you and cheer you on and encourage you, they possibly are not. They might have a little bit of salt on their emotions, and like it might be a little jealous, or they might be like, "Oh, it ain't gonna work." He always doing something. Why you doing that? You wasting your time.
Right. So like we mentioned, the Joseph perspective. Now everybody's heard the story of Joseph in the book of Genesis. Joseph was a dreamer. Joseph was somebody who had a special gift given to him by God. And he realized that at an early age. And on top of that, his father, Jacob, singled him out and gave him special gifts that he didn't give the others, and they resented him for that, because one time we know in the scripture it says where he told them, look, one day you all are going to serve me. And they're like, well, what you mean serve you? Because in their customs back then, guess what? The older one was just automatically the leader, and everybody else that came underneath was to serve the older one or to follow him as the leader. And here Joseph is next to the youngest of all of them, telling them that one day y'all gonna serve me.
Even the father and the mother.
Even the father.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
He told his father that. So
Yeah.
we can say he got full of himself, but even though he was in that household, guess what? Everybody wasn't agreeing with that.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
It made some of them very angry. To the point that, guess what? They did some horrible things to him. They actually took him out and threw him in a pit and sold him.
Sold that brother
like I said, we ain't gonna go into all the details, but the point is, he faced many challenges that he faced moving forward was due to the fact of what his brothers done to him.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so, like I said, we're talking about today is, guess what? You may be working on something, you may be striving, you may be grinding, or whatever the case may be. And guess what? Everybody that starts out with you are not going to finish with you once you get where you have been called to. And sometimes you need to realize that, guess what? You still need to move in that direction and understand that, guess what? Instead of where your focus being on those who are not on your team, you need to focus on where you're going.
Yes. And that's good.
You need to focus on where you're going.
Definitely. And even with that, you have to realize the ladder principle when you're a leader and when you're a builder. A ladder principle is the person that was there to hold your 3-foot ladder may not be the same person that helps hold your 10-foot ladder. And then the group that holds your 10-foot ladder may not be the group that holds your 20-foot ladder. You understand? And those holds your 20-foot ladder. And you got to realize that principle, because otherwise you'll get to a certain place and you'll be frustrated wondering where them 3-foot ladder holders are. Dude, you done climbed 50 feet. And so I realize that everybody, people have seasons in your life. People come in for a season, definitely come in for a reason. And you just have to realize people's season and reason. You have to do that and just know that everybody's heart can't handle your certain levels of success. You understand? You got to always remember that, because what happens is, you can be building with people's heart that's only able to handle a small portion of your success. And as you continue to blow up, it's just, they just can't handle it. Mm-hmm. They're not built, they're not wired to. That's why you always got to, know your circle. Your circle of influence, it will change. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It'll change.
And Doc, you make a good point there. It will change. But I mean, can anybody help me with this? Mm-hmm. How do you notice when it's changing? How do you notice? Through something that comes to your mind and to your heart that lets you know that, guess what? I know that this situation where I am at is not where I need to be right now. I need to be moving.
Ooh. Can I jump on this one a little bit?
How do you know when your situation, your circle is changing and around you? And how can you figure that out to know that with full confidence what's been placed on you to move from that? How do you know? Because like you said, we can say it's changing, but where's the signs that it's changing?
I will say it's a few things. I'll give you a few signs. One, you would be frustrated. To start to feel frustration because you are seeing something, you're working towards something, and the ones around you are not. And they're not excited, and they're not seeing the vision, nor are they believing the vision. And instead of helping you towards it, they're either not making any motion or they're discouraging you in some kind of way. Like, maybe you shouldn't do that. They want to hit you with reality instead of the faith that you have and that it's going to happen.
Wow. That's good.
And that in itself, even though they might have good intentions, it kind of pulls you down. And that feeling of, man, whenever I talk to this person about my dreams, I always feel like trapped, like I can't do it. So you'll find yourself not wanting to even discuss those things that you plan on doing or your ideas with that person anymore. You'll still love that person, but your conversation is going to be more limited in that area. And I'll say also stagnation. When you start to feel like, man, I'm just bored.
This podcast is brought to you by Silver Cup Investments.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
When I'm with this person and I feel this way, maybe it's time for me to move on and find somebody else, or move towards somebody else that can more fit for the direction that I'm going. That's just my point of view. Experience.
I like that. That was real good, DJ. What would we say to the guy that or woman that says it's my spouse?
Ooh.
Because because it's two guys in the Bible in particular that one of them, King David, his wife Micah despised his worship to God. And his praise. She couldn't handle it. And then Job's wife in the Bible told him he ought to curse God and die. Because she could, and then one more. The old lady that was supposed to get pregnant by the old man, she laughed. She laughed. She almost laughed herself to death. At that. So what do you do when it's your spouse?
Ooh, you gotta ask the Father for help on that one. Like, Lord, please, this is your daughter first before she was my wife.
Yes, I hear you. That is a challenge when it's your spouse, the one closest to you, and you feel like you quote unquote sleeping with the enemy. I mean, that's a tough one. I mean, because like you said, that is something that should have been discussed before you went down the aisle, I would say. Because when you're dating, you're trying to learn each other. Mm-hmm. And if you have a dream or something that you want to go at, usually you want somebody that's going to be a partner with you. You want a partner with you that's going to be somebody that's going to help you build this thing, because that's part of the relationship, building a relationship. And if you didn't ask those questions in the beginning, it's going to make it tough to come back later and try to do that. But it's not never impossible, though.
Gotcha.
It's not ever impossible, because you may have to build that thing started and build it by yourself until the other one can see the progress and start to believe. Gotcha. And then join in, because like you said, finding two dreamers coming together at one time is nearly impossible. You're a dreamer and they are not, or they're a dreamer, you're not, because opposites attract. You know? So
right.
You may have to start out on that journey by yourself, as Joseph did. Wow. He started out on that journey by himself when he got out that pit and got taken to Egypt. Mm-hmm. And once he got in Egypt, he kept moving forward with his gift. His gift kept working for him, because we seen that it helped him to prosper while he was in Egypt. All the way up to the point to where he became second in command of everything in Egypt. But I tell you what, let's pause right there and take a quick break, and then we're gonna come back and deal with this.
Yeah,
I'm getting a little excited. Let's take a break right quick, and we're gonna come back and deal with this.
This podcast is brought to you by Silver Cup Investments.
You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back to the Mike, DJ, and Doc Show, where today we are talking about having success with family, the Joseph perspective. Brother Mike, you was hitting on something right before we left for break, man.
Yes, we was talking about Joseph still operating in his gift while he was in Egypt, and how it took him all the way up to second in command of everything in the entire Egypt country. It's the only one above him was the Pharaoh himself, and he had full autonomy to operate. And we know that he was able to see dreams, and he was able to decipher them. But and in this process, he had saw what was Egypt getting ready to happen, as far as the food supply and different things, about the 7 years of bountiness, and then it's 7 years where it's going to be a famine. And he was able to prepare Egypt, like we talked about in a couple of episodes before, about being prepared for the tragedy before it get there. And he prepared Egypt to be ready when that famine came. Now, by doing that, you remember we said earlier when he talked to his brothers, he told them, look, he said, one day y'all gonna serve me. He told him dad that. But guess what? When that famine hit across the land, it affected everybody, his family included. Even to the point that they had to come to Egypt to get grain in order to survive. Now, at this point, they thought Joseph was dead. But Joseph was still doing what he was called to do, still operating his gift. And when Joseph cast eyes on him, guess what? He didn't say, well, round them up, throw them in jail, because those are the ones that did this, that, and the other. How did he greet them? He greeted them, he looked at them, and then he hid his face and he began to sob profusely of the hurt and the pain of seeing his brothers like that, even though they didn't recognize who he was. So I'm pretty sure he had the Egypt makeup on at that time. So anyway, long story. Those individuals, like we talk about, that having success with family, those that are not on your team and different things like that, those can be the same very individuals that propelled you into the situations that's going to take you through the process to get what you're dreaming about.
Yes.
And this is what took place right here. So when we have talked about having success with our family members, those that may not be on our team, guess what? We still need to respect them. We still need to treat them decent, because of where we're going. There might be might be your motivation that pushes you toward where you're going.
Good,
And
Mike.
they the motivation.
Yes.
So even when
You
Joseph
own it.
seen him again, he had opportunity to get revenge, but he didn't. He
Own it,
didn't.
Mike.
He
You own
didn't,
it,
he
Mike.
didn't give him revenge. Instead, he treated them with ultimately respect. And then when the grain he gave them extra
Right.
to take back.
Wow. Ain't that something? Yes.
The same ones. So,
Wow.
I'm just saying, from this perspective, guess what?
It's
You got to keep moving forward no matter what pit you end up in. Because that pit is strengthening you for the next step that you're going.
yeah. And Mike, man,
Mhm.
that's good that you right there. What you said, I just want to park right there for 30 seconds.
Go ahead.
Is the value of vision.
Mm-hmm.
Scriptures say where there is no vision, the people perish.
Mm-hmm.
If Joseph didn't have that vision from a little boy, that his brothers would serve him and his
Mhm.
fathers, all of them would serve him. If he
Mhm.
didn't have that vision, once he got in position later in life, he would have killed his brothers.
Yes.
Because where there is no vision, the people would perish.
That's right.
Wow, we always think about for ourselves. He would have took them out easily. Like, man,
Mhm.
wipe them out. These two tried to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But he wasn't in his feelings because he had vision. So our vision helps us get through the difficult times.
There you go.
That though the vision carry weight on. That you can laugh at me now because I'm standing on my vision. I may stand alone, but because I got a vision, I see how this thing gonna end.
Mm-hmm.
And go, come on, somebody, and I'm gonna feed you too. You're gonna eat from this.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna eat from my struggle. You understand? You're gonna eat from my pain.
That's what I'm talking about.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna eat from my wow.
I tell you what, see, here's the thing about it. That gift that you got, is not so much for yourself. That gift is given to you to be a blessing to people everywhere.
Yes.
It's given to
That's
you
it.
to be a blessing everywhere, to everybody. So, if you got that gift and you putting it into operation as like it should be put into it, and you operating in it, a lot of people is gonna be blessed due to what you started.
Yes.
It may, and like we said, we already know in Joseph's case, it was his family directly. But it's gonna be other families that you don't even know. It's gonna be other neighbors that you don't even know. It's gonna be other races that you don't even know. It's going to be blessed by that. It's going to be other countries and cultures that's going to be blessed by their gift. Due to you staying focused. Go ahead.
Due to him what? No, due to him what?
Due to him staying focused on the path no matter what came.
Now watch this. Just what you said.
Mm-hmm.
How did he end up in prison? Think about it. Because he was falsely accused of trying to rape the master's wife.
Potiphar, right?
He ran from it. Why? Because he stayed focused on his what? On the vision.
Uh-huh.
I didn't come here to touch her. I didn't come here to be involved.
Mm-hmm.
This ain't in the purpose and plan. So even in the midst of it all, he was thrown in prison because he was falsely accused of rape by Potiphar's wife.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And then whose dream did he interpret it once the baker and the butler forgot about him and he came back out? When they finally thought about him years later, after one dude forgot about him,
right?
You know what I'm saying? He came back out and went to that same, and became in demand and still had the power to what? Take out revenge.
Mm-hmm.
That woman, I'm in prison. He in prison for no reason.
Yes.
He in prison because he ran for his life, trying to get away, and she falsely accused him. And lied on him. He still didn't seek revenge.
That's
Still
it.
in secret, man. Realize y'all gonna eat from me.
You staying focused. And so that's what we want to tell. We want to tell our listeners today that's tuned in. Stay focused. Don't worry about those that you don't have success, that it's not in your corner. Stay focused, keep moving, keep planning, keep striving, keep grinding. Because what you possess is going to be a blessing to them later, whether they know it or not.
There it is. There it is. There it is.
Hey, once again, here we come with There It Is. We've been looking at the Joseph perspective on dealing with family and just dealing with how sometimes people that are closest to us cannot see the potential in us. And the benefit of all this, because at the end of the story of Joseph, he lets them know you meant it for evil, but God turned it out for my good. So that lets us know that as long as you stay on track to your purpose and continue to outdo you each day, because you're only competing against the man or the woman in the mirror, and continue to go after what you know God has purposed for you to do here in the earth, you know, no matter who believes in you or who doesn't. I'm reminded of the story of the Dyson vacuum cleaner. It is said that he attempted to produce this vacuum cleaner over 1,200 times. And he finally said, forget it, I give up. And his wife told him to try it one more time. And that Dyson vacuum cleaner, y'all know that's that creative, very expensive vacuum cleaner, you know, like the Rolls Royce of vacuum cleaners. And on that 1,201th time, you know, somebody bought into it, bought the vision. It's sold. Imagine that many attempts, you know, and a failure. You know what I'm saying? But you keep trying. And that's what we have to do. And realize the resistance that we face in life, it's only helping us to be more creative, you know, to tap into the creative genius that God put on the inside of all of us. He said we have a treasure in earthen vessels. So when you face resistance, you just tap deeper into your treasure to find more creativity that was there all the time. You know what I'm saying? That's why they talk about we often say how you don't know what you could survive sometimes until you didn't know you could have went through that or survived that until you've gone through it and you look back and be like, I didn't even realize I had what it takes to survive that. And so, you know, so sometimes, you know, resistance is a blessing. It's a good thing. You know, it's a good thing because the key word, he told them, y'all meant it for evil, but God worked this out for my good. And one thing that Joseph did, no matter where he went, it says, and he prospered. He prospered in the pit. He prospered in the prison. He stayed faithful and committed to God. No matter where he went, he prospered. And you got to realize that no matter where God has you planted, you're planted in acres of diamonds. You understand? There's diamonds because he said, wherever the sole of your feet shall plant, I'll give to you. When you realize that what you do it as unto the Lord and not unto man, because God already got people in place that are going to support you and that are going to bless you. And you know what I'm saying? To God. And so you got to know that. And one thing that Joseph was that a lot of people don't realize, Joseph had the same story as Jesus. Joseph was the first century. He's the Old Testament Jesus. It's the same story. You understand? It's the same story. When the enemies, the thieves was up on the cross with Jesus, one of them was still talking crazy. If you was the God, you would bam, bam, bam. And he just loved them anyhow. You know what I'm saying? He just loved them. And the other thief believed in him. And he said, today thou shalt be with me in paradise. So that lets us know that regardless of who you are, some people gonna believe in you and some people not. And hey, there it is. Just keep hope alive.
If you have any questions for Doc, DJ, or Mike, please go to MikeDJandDoc.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. New episodes released on the 7th and 21st of each month. Matthew 25:40, Good News Translation, the King will reply, I tell you, whenever you did this for one of the least important of these followers of mine, you did it for me. We leave you with this question. Am I helping at least one person? The Mike, DJ, and Doc podcast is brought to you by Silver Cup Investments. Recorded at Audio Hive Podcasting.